Hey, Influencer, we're back here at the Global Media Studios at the theater, and I'm with Maria Garaitonandia. Yes, I got it. Maria, thanks very much for stopping the studios themselves. Hey, we were talking just prior to the conversation about what you do and what you bring, all right, to this whole dynamic world of influence and individuals in the speaking world and the business world is teams. And I think teams are extremely important, all right, in how we manage the expectation of teams. Some of the teams and individuals themselves on the team could be just team players. All right, but sometimes they're not necessarily leaders. We'd like to see leaders in our team, all right, but too many leaders themselves will spoil the stew,
Oh,
without a doubt. So, Maria, let's talk about teams for a second. What do you do from the aspect of developing the relationship of individuals and teams?
I help the teams and their leaders be able to unravel any kind of communication knots
Okay.
that are preventing their processes, their results from being able to move forward.
Right. So there's a lot of sticking points out there, a
Of
lot of
course.
animosity, a lot of personalities
Yes.
inside those teams themselves to manage out there. So how do we do this?
A lot of times it goes beyond personality. Sometimes when you have those communication moments where you're not understanding each other, I think more than personalities, it can be that we're misinterpreting
Yeah.
where the other person's coming from,
Okay.
especially if you're talking generationally or cross culturally.
Communication.
Exactly. That's what it
Or
is.
the lack of, without a
Exactly.
doubt. All right.
Exactly.
So, how do we bridge this? I mean, I think we're seeing a lot more team perspectives, individuals themselves really working to strengths, all right, or maybe hiring to weakness. We'd love to see something of that nature itself because we want the team to be as strong as they possibly can. Okay. Individuals come with certain backgrounds, certain skills, knowledge, tools, techniques, resources that they bring in.
Mhm.
I said, how do you manage all this?
In my experience, in the 25 years I've been coaching and training a lot of the
Only
teams and leaders,
25 years.
only
My goodness
25.
gracious. My gosh.
You hear a lot of the same things.
Yeah, yeah.
How do I give somebody feedback without alienating them? Or
Mhm.
how do I understand what my remote team across the planet,
Right,
where they're coming from? Or how do I motivate people?
right.
And a lot of it, I find that a simple thing that you can do is give a tiny bit of context
Mhm.
right before you make a suggestion or a
Okay.
request. A little bit of context makes a huge difference.
Right,
And you don't
exactly.
have to give a whole thesis.
Yeah, right.
Couple of sentences.
Context of direction.
You kind of like the why it is,
Okay,
or what
gotcha.
your vision is, or what your objective is before you start getting into the what's in the house.
Mhm.
Kind of like what Simon Sinek talks a little
Yeah,
bit
right,
about.
exactly.
But that context helps people align because you're giving them the courtesy of bringing them with you through your reasoning before you get into your methodology.
Method right. So what are some of the hurdles? Yeah, there's got to be hurdles. All right. And so individuals themselves, we know we got behavioral and personalities and
Mhm.
habits and all sorts of crazy things that people wanting to do. We got the generations.
Oh, that's
All right.
that's
Which
one
is
of my
a
favorite
whole
ones. Yes, of
which is a
course.
whole different story
Yes.
altogether. But how do what are some of the hurdles that we're facing?
You just mentioned it. The generational and technological innovations that we've been seeing just in the past decade or two makes a huge difference. I think one of the biggest things when we talk about technology was the migration from synchronous communication, you had to
Yeah.
call people
Call people, right?
or
Exactly.
tap them on the shoulder,
Mhm.
to asynchronous communication,
Okay.
where as soon as you were able to start texting and multitasking,
Right.
everything shifted.
Sure.
So that causes problems. And I read a statistic that said that many companies are wasting over $12,000 per employee per year in miscommunication.
Okay.
And part of it, a large part of it, is because people are over relying on written communication.
There you go.
And you have to know when the time comes to stop writing emails, chats, etc.,
Right.
and just either grab the phone or tap somebody on the shoulder.
Imagine that. So AI has got to take a back seat.
Yeah,
GPT chat.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
It's got to take a back
Right.
seat on here.
I
all
mean,
right?
until the point where we can, I don't know, fake AI to be us and talk
Right.
to somebody. I don't see that happening anytime soon,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I teach teams themselves in different perspectives and how the team relationship is built and through the communication. Extremely important. Okay. Okay. And there's always hurdles. All right. But the toughest challenges themselves that I've seen is just basically what we talked about is the communications. All right. Through the generations. And so I usually tell people if you're not managing your business to the generations, you may be missing the boat because individuals may be missing points of communication and they're not really getting the objective or they're not going to see the finalization of what kind of plan is going to be in place. What do you feel? Same thing?
I agree. I agree. I mean, and you go beyond the generational thing, and everybody's pretty much working cross culturally now.
Sure.
Also,
Exactly.
people working with the teams in Asia or Europe or Latin America. It's also really important to understand the subtleties that some cultures are going to be a lot more relationship oriented,
Right.
and you have to
Exactly.
break the ice and you have to say hello. You can't. I had a guy and he's like, Maria, why is it that when I'm talking to my teams in Mexico, they'll write to me on the chat and they'll be like, hey, Eric, how are you? And then crickets, like,
Yeah.
what's up
Right.
with that?
Right. Exactly.
And I'm like, Eric, you have to say hi first. People are not going to be assuming that you are available
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
until you give them the permission to go ahead and engage. So even that, he's like, oh, wow. I just thought it was an annoying thing that they were doing. Like, I don't want to engage in small talk. Just tell me what you want, right?
Yeah. Right.
So even those tiny little things can put barriers in our teams
Right.
so that it's more difficult for us until we understand what is behind the behaviors.
Right. So, Maria, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a blank slate. All right. Mindless people. All right. And you got to create a team. What are the best features, benefits, additional items themselves that you want to bring into that team that's going to make this team the super team? All right. At the Olympics.
That's a great question. I would say if you had your choice of finding certain people with certain characteristics,
Right.
finding people who are able to observe
Okay.
and adjust, be flexible, and be open-minded about some of the behaviors, because if you know what happens when you assume, right? So
We all know we're an influence here. Right? Imagine that, right?
So I would say that just kind of being able to be a little bit more adaptable and flowing, not just assume that you know
Sure.
the right way to do things.
You know, I also found out too, as well as that, adding to what you said, all great too, as well. Listening, people need to listen. I'm mesmerized by the fact itself that individuals themselves jumping to the gun to making the decisions based upon premonition, based upon their own personal agenda. Did I say personal agenda? Good night. Well, that doesn't really, that takes the I out of team, I guess, right? Or
Right,
puts the
right,
I in
right,
team.
right.
All right. So, what's the best course of management here? What's our next steps themselves? We're a developers team. Okay. So how do we keep them functionable? All right, without chewing each other, all right, at the dinner table.
A very simple model that I've put together that can cross cultures and generations is what I call the clear
Yeah,
model. You got to convey that context.
sure.
Tell somebody kind of where you're coming from.
Okay.
You got to listen and empathize. So open-ended questions. We've all
Right.
heard that, but moreover is changing the narrative a little bit.
Yeah,
So
right.
you adjust and reframe. So in your
Oh, yeah.
mind, you're adjusting while you're listening and empathizing. You're getting more information in because you're paraphrasing, asking questions, empathizing, and then you're adjusting and reframing by changing the narrative because you're learning new stuff.
Right.
And then you can reframe
Love that.
whatever the message is in a way that will be more palatable
Yeah, sure.
to your receiver.
And sometimes we may actually take it down to a third grade, first grade, or kindergarten level. Did I say kindergarten? Okay.
You did?
All right, yeah. So let's say third grade level. We're at influence here. Third grades, and so bringing it for individuals and all individuals themselves across the generations to really understand. Okay, because it may be shortcutted. They may anticipate, or they may gesture, or think about in a different manner. All right, right. That's wild. That's great. How do people themselves reach you? All right.
On my website,
Good.
mariagaraitonandia.com. But
See?
you have to learn how to spell it first.
You gotta learn how to say it first, all right?
Or globalbridgestraining.com.
Good. Love it, love it, love it. So, Maria, if there's one thing, all right, that you would like to leave our audience with, all right, one tidbit, one gold nugget, all right, from a team perspective, what would you leave them?
I would say always assume positive intent. People are good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not there to make your life or day difficult. Everyone's doing their best. And if you just change that narrative, it'll just be a lot easier to be able to connect with your team members.
She's fabulous, fabulous. Maria, I want to thank Maria. Maria, Maria, you know what I'm doing. All right.
What?
I'm thinking of the last name.
Oh, you're thinking, oh, I got to get to that last
And
name
I
now.
think I got it. Maria Garaitonandia.
Yes, almost.
Yeah, it was close, almost. I tried. Maria, it's been an honor, been
Same
a
here.
pleasure. All right, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for bringing the enlightenment of teams. All
Thank
right,
you.
to this podcast.
It's been a
themselves.
pleasure. Thank you,
And it's
Ruth.
been my honor. All right, and now if I can only spell it, that's been all different.
Yes.
But thank you very much, Maria. We'd love to have you here, and we'd love to see you back.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much, guys. Hey, Influence, we'll be back soon. Thanks. Have a great day.